I'm Brenda.
And I'm Christy. We're two friends from high school who are connecting and reconnecting over music and memories.
Welcome to Normal Bias Podcast.
We're glad you're here.
Right here.
I'm going to leave that in too. You're welcome.
Great. I know it's just me that sees that giant pimple. Hey, Normal Biasers. Welcome back. It's Brenda and Christy.
And it's a Wednesday morning, and Brenda's here in Brenham.
And I am here in Brenham, and I may never leave. Like, I keep thinking of every excuse in the book to be here all the time.
I love it. Brenda's been here like since yesterday, and just now, like we literally set up the camera to record, and she's like, "Oh, but I haven't seen this," and "Oh, what about that?" and "Oh, let's look at this," and I'm like, so it is 11:42. We started recording at 11. We were going to be done by 11:30, so Brenda could get on the road by noon. So,
yep, that's me. That's us. What? I'm like, there are so many things to see here, and I love it because every time I come, something's new or something got moved. And
we're in the midst of reorganizing, like really heavily editing, and Casey has been great at that because she's like with the craft closet. So much of that is from so many years of working in preschool and then supporting, like I was a preschool teacher and then I supported preschool teachers for over a decade. So you have like 20 years of stuff. And then I had kids. And so we always had stuff. If somebody needed something for an art project, our kids, somebody else's kids, people would be like, "Hey, do you have 4 purple pipe cleaners?" "Sure, come on by." And Casey has helped me see we don't have that age anymore.
Right. We don't need the pipe cleaners.
Well, we do still have the pipe cleaners. She kept some things, but a lot of things we let go.
That's awesome.
And like all of our, you know how like, I apologize if you've ever given me a gift and I've done this with it, but if you give me, I don't use a lot of things. I have like things that I like lip balms. I don't use candles. I don't use scented lotions. I don't use a lot of things. So bless you, baby. If I get a gift that I don't love, but somebody else will love, I put it in a box in where we keep our gifts, and then we'll regift it. Like like when you need to give somebody a happy or something. Sorry guys, but I do regift. But yeah.
I think that
we clean that stuff out too.
Awesome.
Are you a regifter?
I am.
I'm glad to hear that. I don't think it's tacky at all. I think it's smart because you don't want to waste it. I'm grateful you gave it to me, but I won't appreciate it. But if I get something and I know you'll love it, I give it to you.
Yeah.
And I don't say I bought this for you. I say I got this and I knew you'd love it. Like I'm always honest about where it came from because I don't want to.
I am too. And I honestly think you have just released it into the universe and made it okay for everyone else that's shaking their head, Martha and Stephanie, to say, I do that too, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think, actually, so, I just finished the new home edit book, and that's one of the things that they talk about is like, if you get swag, if you get a gift, and, there's circles crawling around behind us, to put it in your gift closet. And I was like, like when you read something and you're like, me too.
Yes.
Or you hear something on a podcast.
Me too.
I was like, I do that. I was ahead of the curve.
Already doing it.
Yeah.
Love it.
So, yeah. And Casey's just like me. And, people tend to give her, people find out that like for me, I like unicorns. Certain kinds of unicorns. I'm not going to tell y'all exactly what kind because I don't want any in the mail. Thank you. But people, like when people find out you like something, they start giving you those things, which is so sweet when they think of you. And a lot of times a gift like that I'll keep. But then sometimes if it's something that's just not me, but so a lot of like my rainbow and unicorn gifts I get to repurpose for the young girls in my life who are actually like first graders who like rainbows and unicorns. All the things we have in common.
Right. Again, I talk about that too because I work at the elementary school and I'm like, well, I call it the catwalk or the runway. We have a blue carpet at school. I'm like, work that blue carpet. But there's so many sparkles and just fun things. I'm just like, I would wear that. I would wear that. So that's where the whole idea of forever second grade.
You don't need forever 21. Yeah.
Not forever 21.
Totally
forever 29, forever second grade. I'm like, just that fun whimsy. Why not wear?
I would do that.
Yeah, me too.
I have in the mail today. Okay, so I did a bad thing. I have an Amazon credit card. And I got it with the understanding that I could charge something on Amazon as long as I paid it off. Like I would buy it on Amazon for the points and then I would pay it off. Well, I don't. So I took it off as my default payment and hooked it to my Amazon account to my debit card. Well, I always know exactly how much money's in the bank, right? So now, like, instead of spending less on Amazon, which is what I thought would happen, I'm spending more because yesterday, like the other day, I was scrolling and it came up there. So our school colors are green, like a true green. And there's this awesome, it looks awesome. It's probably like, $3 from China, but a big, like a rugby stripe, green and white cardigan. So I sent it to my fashion advisor and I was like, can I wear this? So that's coming in the mail today.
I can't wait to see that.
Yeah. So I ordered that. And then I also ordered a rainbow t-shirt that got lost in transit here from China, which I think was a sign from God. And then it finally came and I opened up the package and it was this hideous, and I apologize in advance if you love this color. I'm wearing a yellow, but this was like a mustard, like a baby poo, yellow brown with the weirdest color shirt with a ladybug on it. A scary ladybug, and Casey was like, tell me about this. I was like, no, it's supposed to be a rainbow. But it was that, so I donated it because I was like, "There's no way I'm like shipping this back to China. Like I'm
somewhere over
this,
the
like,
rainbow. Over in China.
Yeah, I was like, so I don't have a rainbow shirt, but that your Forever Second Grade made me think about my rainbow T-shirt, made me think about my cardigan, made me think about my bad spending habits.
Oh, you're welcome.
And here we are.
Here we are.
So Brenda said when we were sitting down to record, we have a list of show ideas for October. So we'll run a poll for next week's because Brenda needs to know. Well, I know where you stand, but Brenda needs to know where you stand on candy corn.
Candy corn.
So
yay or nay? Because people have big feelings about that. And when I say what I do, you
get no judgment from me.
Not from you, but I'm just saying.
It's the one thing I don't judge her for, apparently. So funny thing, well, you know what? We'll talk about this next week, but remind me to tell you my pumpkin candy corn story. I think I posted about it, but I'll tell you about it next week when we talk about
pumpkin candy corn story. Yes. But it's one of those things that's like, kind of like, I'll use Peeps as the example because I want to give away the candy corn thing.
Because Peeps are her favorite food.
They are my favorite. And people will like, ew, not to say the Peeps are gross, but they'll say, ooh, you're gross. Ooh, how can you like those? What's the matter with you? And I'm like, me? What's the matter with you? It's a fluffy, yummy marshmallow coated in sugar, like
actual sugar crystals.
Actual sugar crystals. The little brown eye things kind of creep me out, but because what is that actually? It's not chocolate.
Is it not?
No, I think it's like fondant.
It's brown paint.
It's paint.
It's brown plastic.
But
so have you ever melted a Peep?
I have.
Have you had like Peeps all the ways? Do you have a Peeps
I have
cookbook?
I've had Peeps all the ways. Like I've made it just a regular s'more with a Peep. My favorite thing is if you get this little, they recommend cast iron, but anything that you can put in the oven, but you put the like Hershey Kisses or little pieces of Hershey chocolate, and then cover, top with Peeps, put it in the oven for like 5 minutes, and then it's a dip.
We did that since we lived in this house. We've done that.
That's my fave.
And that's probably like the most I've ever enjoyed a Peep.
See?
But I love Peeps because if you do staff appreciation so a row of Peeps perfectly fits in the snack size box like this. And then you just put a little label on them and they're so pretty, which we couldn't do that now. Like there's no way I could touch food and then gift it to you.
Oh, right.
So back in my day, you could touch the teacher's food before you gave it to them. So that was always like, I was that guy, like at the day after Easter, I was at Walmart buying in Walgreens and H-E-B buying all the 25-cent things of Peeps to use for staff appreciation a couple weeks later.
And here's what I love too. So the factory is, but due to COVID, I said it, and they had to shut down. And so the holiday Peeps are not being made.
How many of us reached out? Did I actually text you when that came across? Because I was really worried about you.
Yes, I received your text. I've got emails. I got actual phone call.
Probably from Mr. Peep himself, Brenda.
No, seriously.
Sorry.
And I got a ton of Facebook messages. And then what was really fun about that is probably like 5 people said, I did not realize that the Peep factory was in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And I was like, yes, that little bitty town. So that's huge for a small town like that.
Yeah.
all those workers. And so it made me so sad. One of the kindergarten teachers, she's a third grade teacher this year, but she got on Amazon and ordered Peeps for me. That was the best thing ever. So
we could probably go to the King Dollar. They probably have them last year.
and
they're probably
they're
still
still
good. They're
good.
Peeps. I mean, like,
They're
it's like
still,
a Twinkie.
They're still good. And so here's my lifelong dream. So I'm gonna put this out there and we can stop talking about Peeps. But Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, where the factory is, on New Year's Eve, they drop not a ball, but a Peep at midnight. There's a whole Peep festival leading up to New Year's Eve. It's amazing, and I'm gonna do it one day.
Oh my word.
Yep.
I am down for that.
Yes.
And that, like, I want to make a note. I moved my stuff off my desk so I wouldn't be distracted while we're sitting here. But then I started this because right before we recorded, Brenda said, "Hey, did you send a note to blah, blah, blah?" And I said, "No." So I'm going to write Peeps and Jesus. So I remember Bethlehem.
Yep.
Or my handwriting. This is why when I get to the store, I just wrote Jesus, but really what I wrote is J, and then something that could be a C, an I, or an E, and then some squiggles.
Yeah.
So I don't know how I'm supposed to get from that to Bethlehem, but I get to the store and I'm like, W, X.
So yes.
I don't know what this says.
So most people plan, like, I can't wait to get to go to Hawaii or go to Disney World.
There's this Pennsylvania.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. Can't wait. So it's Wednesday. I'm so glad. I'm here.
Aren't you glad?
Well, I am so glad. If you've never been to Brenham, Texas, please come visit, because it's just
come visit us because Brenda's here.
Because I'm here.
But you have to go home now. But so Brenda's actually about to get on the road because it's a big day. The boys come home today. Y'all get to have like 4.5, 5 days of vacation. So they have a fall break, you guys. Like Noble is like, wait, why does Miss Brenda get to come on a school day? Wait, what? Where are the boys?
Yeah.
And he said, I wish we had a fall break. And I was like, I didn't have the heart to tell him. Like, for me, like, every day is fall break right now.
It seriously is. The weather is great. The leaves are falling. There's pumpkins in your front yard. It's amazing. Fall in Texas is probably the best. I like fall in Texas.
It has to be late fall, like almost even like those, like November, like you just pray for Thanksgiving that you can actually wear a sweater.
That is true. That's true.
I like the days like today, like it started, like when we went to walk the dogs, I was like, ooh, should I get a sweatshirt? And I'm pretty sure James rolled his eyes at me because I think it was like 75. And I was like, oh, should I get a sweatshirt?
No, it was really, when we went to breakfast, even, it was cool out. I thought, dang, I didn't bring a jacket. I did have my green jacket, but I didn't get it.
So breakfast today was kind of that. Speaking of bucket list, y'all remember we recorded with Lori Woodward, the word slinger, several weeks ago, and she's the best, y'all. She is
the best.
She is the real deal. She's just good people and wise and smart and funny and beautiful, like all the things you could, like want anybody to be. Lori is those things.
Breath of fresh air. I didn't want to leave. I didn't want her to go.
Yeah.
It's like, don't you want to hang out?
So we had breakfast with her this morning. We had, and that's in life in a small town. Like we had breakfast with Lori. And then as we were leaving, people came in that were mutual friends of ours and Brenda's and Lori's. And yeah, so also, it's just sort of how it is.
It is. And then our waitress met her, Molly.
And one of the waitresses was like another one of Casey's peers. So anyway.
I have to say, that's probably... Actually, that might be the best biscuit I ever had.
Oh, I have to tell Kelly. It was really good. They have homemade bread.
Yes.
So I always get the toast, but the biscuits are really
There's
good.
4 biscuits that I can tell you that I love that are the best, but that is probably trumped them all.
Are you a Cracker Barrel biscuit girl?
Yes.
I love their biscuits.
Cracker Barrel biscuits.
Okay, who's your 4?
Okay, so number 1 now is Smitty's biscuit in Brenham. Number 2 is the biscuit at the Wonder Inn. If you ever stay at the Wonder Inn, the Junk Gypsy Girls place.
So they
bring you a biscuit.
Junk Daddy's biscuit mix. They're in the store.
Yes, that's my number 2. It was number 1 until today. And then Cracker Barrel. And then if you're ever in Georgetown, Texas, near Sun City, Georgetown, the Monument Cafe has the best chocolate pie you'll ever eat. And it has great biscuits. So those are my top 4.
And then I've not been there, but I would add to the in San Antonio in the really cool old district like the Heights, there's the Pioneer Factory. And they have a restaurant there, which as soon as I started talking, I lost the name of the restaurant. Something House. Oh, for the love, it's the name of the family.
Yeah.
I got nothing.
Got nothing.
Biddy, what's the name of the place we eat in San Antonio at the Pioneer Factory?
So today, while they're trying to figure out that name, today's biscuit, y'all, it was
Gunther House.
Gunther House.
GUE.
I'm gonna have to try that.
They're Pioneer mixed biscuits, so you can do it at home. But they're like big as your face, and they are amazing.
Big as this face?
Big as my big old face. That, and then they brush butter on top.
Oh.
So their biscuits and gravy are some of the best that I've had. That's not my dad's. And you know what their gravy is?
What?
Pioneer mixed gravy. True story. I ate mixed gravy in a restaurant and love it like my dad made it.
Today's biscuit was all
back to Callie's biscuit. I'm sorry, y'all. Back to the biscuit at Smitty's. Tell us about your biscuit today, Brenda.
Lori was right. Lori said that it is good by itself. Like you could taste butter in it, so you didn't feel like you had to put butter.
I would have put butter on it anyway.
I did. But I usually like butter and jelly on my biscuit and gravy. And today I could have eaten it just by itself, and it was soft.
I mean, she didn't.
I
We're not animals.
Yes, she could have. But it was soft and fluffy and doughy, if that makes sense. That's how I like it. But it was just crispy, like crunchy, just barely on the edges, because that's yummy too. I could have eaten like 3 more, but it was a good size too. It was very good. The whole breakfast was good.
So your boys are going to come home today, and they're going to be like, "Mom, something's different about you," and they're gonna assume that you're like falling in love, and then you're gonna have to wax poetic about this biscuit.
I fell in love, boys, with the biscuit. I like it and I love it.
I like you and I love you, biscuit.
I just love breakfast. Breakfast is probably my favorite meal.
Oh, okay. So I do love breakfast is my favorite meal, but brunch is my favorite treat. Like if I'm on vacation, I want brunch food. Like I want poached eggs and I want a mimosa.
Mimosas, yes.
And then I want something with bread.
But my other favorite meal is chips and salsa.
Oh, yeah, that's good anytime. That's what we had for
Anytime.
lunch yesterday.
Oh, not me.
We have that Chewies I got the other day.
Oh, yeah.
So we finished, I think we almost finished off the jalapeno dip yesterday.
And you know what the first thing was that Cassie said when we got to her house?
Oh, no.
Yes.
They debated for like 10 minutes. Should we take her this or does she like it from someplace else? And I'm guessing she wanted Chewies.
She's like, hey, y'all didn't bring any sauce chips? And I was like, oops.
She's also pregnant. So
yes.
You're lucky you didn't get smacked.
We're lucky that we didn't get smacked and that she still let us stay in her house.
So big week for you. So yeah, so we were debating. We were like, well, what do we talk about for Orange Event? So we were like, well, we could just sit down and talk about the fact that we're glad that it's Wednesday. You're off work.
I am off work.
Your boys have had a vacation. Now they're coming home to have a vacation with you. And you guys, like, they are going to have my ideal vacation because they're going to hang out at home for a few days. I love that. I'm all.
I do. I love home.
We've been home so much since March, and I don't even care. Like I don't like we've had to cancel vacations and trips, and lots of things have changed. But I have loved every minute of being at home. Not Casey making bread every day and then us having ice cream every night. Not so much that part. We luckily that has stopped because I was like, I'm not going to be able to fit in my overalls. But yeah. So, but I have loved being home. And then now that Casey is like, she organized all of our public spaces in March and April. And then now that she's read the home edit, the first book and watched the series, she's going back there and like really editing. And this time, like I gave her a budget for some acrylic containers. And so she's redone like all of the spaces that she did then. Like there's nothing, I think there's no spaces left in our house.
She needs to come to mine.
Our second podcast, we had a conversation.
We did?
That really upset James. Do you know this?
Oh my gosh. Yes, I do.
Y'all, in the past, so Casey has, like, I talk about Casey a lot. I don't talk about Noble a lot because he is a lot more private. It's not because I don't have a lot to say about him, but it's because he has asked me specifically not to talk about him here or on my social media. So I am respecting that. So I talk about Casey a lot, but she has just been doing all the things. And a few weeks ago, like on our second podcast, we were talking about how Brenda came. I thought it was 3 years ago. It was 2 years ago.
That 2 years in July. Was it?
I just can't. I feel like it's been anyway.
Okay, it's been a minute.
Oh yes, because it was too. Okay, sorry y'all. Anyway, Brenda came and we had moved all of our stuff out of storage and put it in our garage. And Brenda came and spent the weekend and worked through with James and me, like editing the stuff that was in the garage, organizing what was in there. And it was just years of memories and hard stuff to let go of, hard stuff to categorize. And it has been a sore spot because since then, we've not been able to get in our garage still because we set up a station in the middle for him to work through some collectible stuff. And it's just been sitting there. And then y'all know how it goes, like that sitting there and then other stuff got piled on it. So it was just, we host things at our home every month, or at least we did before COVID. And it was always a little bit embarrassing, I think, for both of us when someone would open the garage to get something, because it's like, well, a few weeks ago, James was talking about the studio and he was like, well, I need to rearrange it. I need to do this. I need to do that. And we kind of talked through like what's really bothering you. And it was the clutter. And so I thought that we would end up going out there and going through it with him. Well, one day he came in and he had just started making piles. He completely cleaned out his studio, like college textbooks out of the shelves, took at least one load to Higgins Branch. And his studio looks beautiful. It's like as good as it's ever been. It looks gorgeous. I don't think there's anything else he needs to do in there except for hang some pictures on the wall. So he did that, and then he has felt so good. And then we got him some new candles. He's a candle boy for fall, and he's loving it.
Third candle boy in like less than 2 weeks that I've heard of.
But he loves candles. Like they have to be a certain kind. But so he got him fall candles, and then so this weekend James and Neville went camping, and then the camping stuff was still in the truck, and he said, "I need to unload the truck." And I said, "Do you want Neville's help?" And he said, "No, because I'm going to organize it as I put it in the garage." And I thought, okay, I didn't say anything because Casey, a few weeks ago, we were traveling and she kind of broached the topic of the garage. And I was like, tread lightly, it really upset him when we talk about it, or when we talked about it on the podcast. So he's not ready to deal with it. So don't bug him about it. Well, so that was Sunday that he was going to go out and unload the truck. And the next thing we knew, like all the camping stuff was laid out on the driveway. And he was out there for hours, y'all. He came in for dinner and he was out there for hours. Our garage is clean. Like I can do yoga in our garage. Anybody can come over. We can eat in our garage.
Yes.
It's done.
You can have,
there's some shelves that need to be touched up, like where they're organized, but they need to be, revamped a little bit. But he cleaned out the space in the garage. He got rid of stuff. He cleaned stuff out. He let go of stuff that he's been saving because it was someone who's important to him that he had never used. He's ready to let go of collectibles. Like it just had to be his time.
It did. And he did it on his own.
But you could just tell like afterwards, I was like, we were talking about feelings and you could just tell he feels better. And I was like, for all these years, first hanging over us, it was get it out of storage. And then it was get it out of the garage. And then it was get it organized. And then it was clean it up. And so he's just had years of stress about this stuff.
It is. And that's why it's physically there and you see it, but you don't realize that you're holding it and it's constantly there weighing on you. Deal with it. You need to deal with it. You need to deal with it. And when you finally come to that day where you do, it's gone.
You don't have to carry it anymore.
And then don't have to carry it anymore.
Think about those things in your life. And I have had this like with my scrapbooks and other stuff in my life. I feel like I understand somewhat what he feels, because when you're creative, you feel like you can't really take the time to go deep into your work, like to write that book or to work on that series or whatever it is. Because if I have 2 hours to do that, well, shouldn't I do that, or shouldn't I work on that? And but now I feel like now that that's done, like I just told him, I said, how much space does this open up in your heart, in your life, in your calendar, not because he was spending hours doing it, but because it was always there.
And in your future.
Mm-hmm.
In your future.
So yeah, so I mean, I have a whole new husband.
Mm-hmm.
I'm so happy for him. I'm grateful to Brenda. So if you guys need someone, Brenda's the guy. I told Casey I've kind of been pimping her out because Casey has taken our organizing up a notch because she's using the home edit as inspiration, and she's rainbow tizing. What's your word, Biddy? Rainbow wedding?
Roy B. Giving.
She just makes the rainbows, but she could. But anyway, so she's been creating rainbows wherever she can.
Mm-hmm. And which I'm sure it's on Netflix right now, you guys. The home edit, the two girls. And actually, they had a show. I guess now they're on Netflix, but they had a whole other season on another platform.
Did they really?
They did.
Different shows?
It was called something else. It was a direct, yes, but it was produced by, it was produced by Reese also. And it was on about the same time as Condo's.
Oh, I love that
Netflix show.
Mm-hmm. She's Sparks Joy. I want to put her in my pocket.
Do you love her? I do love her.
Mm-hmm.
I do love her.
So you get all of that and more if you hire the real OCD.
Yes. I don't usually do the rainbow thing, but it's cool.
But you could have requested it.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, if you want that. Which is really nice because it gives you that. It already gives you the order and
but it
whatnot.
does change. I finally bit the bullet and I did it with my clothes, which is kind of boring because I have like 10 things. But so it's not as exciting. Like yours would be fun. Casey's is fun because you guys have all the colored tops and stuff like that.
But not really. I have more black because that's what I was going to say about the rainbow. So I did Roy G. Biv. But I don't have that much red or orange or yellow that you'd think I would. I have a lot of black and gray and like for some reason like the olive green. So because I had more of that goes in the front, and then I did the colored on the other sides because I have more of it. And
it does, but it doesn't look a little bit neater with the colors together.
It does.
Because I've always done it by category. I've always done it like very specifically. So
like tanks.
This is how much of a nerd I am. When I tried out for the real world, my audition video was me walking through my closet. Because, it went sleeveless to this, to that. And so all these years I've always done that. And so this is like, it really stressed me out to do the rainbow because I was like, but then I won't have a t-shirt next to a t-shirt. But I did it and I was like, it actually looks neater because I don't know. There's something about it, what it does.
It does. So I
like it.
I've done my closet that way, and I've done it several ways, but now I always like the color coding. And the color coding I do. So each color, there's like tanks, short sleeve,
I did do that
long
within
sleeve.
the colors.
Yes,
I did. Because in my head, like my closet, like what hangs up, I have t-shirts, I have sweatshirts, I have my button-down Oxford shirts, and then I've got overalls and dresses, cardigans.
I think for me, as long as you see everything, and I think that having the same kind of hanger helps, but mostly, and then if you like do each like long sleeves, short sleeves, then in your mind too, I always feel like, I mean, I'm not a big shopper, but if you're out shopping or if you think I need, like you remember more what you have, I guess, does that make sense?
I think so. And I think
when you see everything, and
that's a hard thing to talk about with people, because like people, I don't think people as a rule, and I'm going to use myself as an example. I didn't realize until I realized how much stuff I had. When I was first married, I literally went shopping every week, every 2 weeks. And it didn't, like, I had all the variations of a white shirt you can have. I didn't wear them all, but I had them just in case, or I had them because I might get this sweater, which needs this. Or one thing I was really guilty of when I was younger and probably had more disposable income was if I liked something, I would get in all the colors. So I would have shoes, the same shoes in multiple colors. I would have the same dress in different colors, the same shirt. And I think about it and I'm like, I don't even know what I'm thinking. I do still have that because I have Converse in a few colors. But, and then I have like, there's one long sleeve shirt button down that I wear, and I have several of those, but I don't go out and buy all the same thing anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I say that, but I still do in my closet because I'm such a creature of habit. Like I have one kind of chambray shirt that I wear. I have one now instead of two. But then when this one, the last one, I got a hole in the last one. I have super glue on this one. So when I replace this one, I have to let it go. So I don't know, like you were talking about shopping. I kind of always have a constant list in my head of like, these are the pieces that I wear.
Mm-hmm.
This is what, so the next time that shirt goes on sale in April, I'll replace it again.
Right. I do replace
But
things.
I probably won't pay full price for it.
I think too, right now, I see a lot of people, and there's nothing wrong with these things, but Stitch Fix is very popular, or these, just where you can subscribe to getting a box a month or every, several months. And you can get this box of stuff. And do you need it? I mean, maybe, but where are you going to put it? What are you going to replace it with? It's like just constant insight, like bringing it in. And before you know it, you just have a ton of stuff that now what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, and I wonder too, like how many people actually like take the step to send it back if they don't want it.
Mm-hmm. That too.
Because I know for me, I'd be like, oh, well, I already paid for it. You know what? It's not hurting anything to sit here, but it does, because then it's just weighing on you.
It is. It's just ways. So yeah.
So let us come clean out your closet.
Let's come clean up. It is fun. And I think when you're like on these shows, when you watch, you see them come in and, work with this family, and it definitely is motivating, and you can see the result in 30 minutes. I don't know, are they 30 minutes or an hour? Mm-hmm. And, and it just makes it fun. And then once you do one space, in case you can attest, you just keep going. And that's the best part. I love that.
I do too. It feels good. And, but for me, like, it's not just the organizing, like, so Casey redid the top thing in our refrigerator, put everything on the turntable. We call them Lazy Susans because that's where I'm from.
Me too.
But anyway, so it's doing that. But then you have to go and you have to clean the glass shelf, right? You can't just put something new on something dirty. You have to clean it. Like you have to, it works best for me, the way that I'm wired, when you clean, like what you're organizing, clean the area, like, if you take stuff off the shelf, wipe the shelf down and stuff like that. But also like, like in your pantry, in your refrigerator, if it's expired, get rid of it, replace it, whatever, but don't just put old food back in because it was there. Like, I think one of the things that I don't think people realize, I realize it since we've lived so long in a small space, is you become blind to the stuff that's around you. It just becomes part of the landscape. So like if you put like a letter down on the dresser and don't deal with it, like your brain, it's like the next day, it's like, oh, there's a letter there, and it might stick out. And then the next day it's like, oh yeah, that letter's there. And then the next, it's like, well, that's just where letters live. Right?
Yeah.
And then the next time you have a letter you don't know what to do with, where do you put it? On top of that letter. And then before you know it, you have a stack of letters. So to you people who have stacks of mail on your dining room table, on your kitchen counters, let it go.
And I think I love what you guys have done here, because you've watched the show and you've seen the steps or the systems that they've created. Here's the other thing is that I worry about people. When you look at Instagram pages like theirs, and I am guilty of this, you look at their aesthetic. That's a word I don't like.
But it works.
That is very popular right now, that word.
But it doesn't fit everyone.
But it doesn't.
That's your beat.
Yes, it doesn't fit everyone. And so you have to look at your space and see what works for you, or how you can incorporate a piece or something to make it better for you. And you don't necessarily have to go to the Container Store and buy the name brand thing. Walmart and Amazon and Target, they have, depending on your budget, they have clear acrylic things that you can incorporate, and know that, your pantry is going to look great. It's not necessarily going to look like their Facebook page. That's a bright white, well lit, her husband's a photographer, pantry that looks amazing, all the, like it does. And it's still going to make you feel good, and it's going to make your family all like breathe better, because it's your space and you know what you need in your space. Like, I just worry that people want it to look exactly like a picture in a book, or
Yeah. And
or
I guess,
on how it looks on TV.
and one of the things that I work with when I talk to people is, so like, don't wait until you have the budget for all the clear acrylic
Yes.
things, right? So one of the things I was telling Brenda, for years, I have organized just on a budget. Like I would use what we had.
Mm-hmm.
So the whole thing with organizing in their system is solid. You edit, you contain,
Mm-hmm.
then you make it pretty or whatever.
Yes,
Right?
contain is big.
But you got to start with editing. You got to do that whole, like there's a whole, what was that show? Like the garage sale show where they would have 3 tarps and it was like keep, trash, sell.
Yes, Peter Walsh, love him.
So yeah, like there's, I mean, so you have to go through, you have to, I'm that guy now. You have to.
Yeah.
For me, I think it's important to edit first and then figure out what you have to contain
Mm-hmm.
and then decide what container it is. Because you might have something where someplace where it already fits, or something that it already fits in. You don't have to wait to do the work until you buy all the containers, because I will guarantee you, every time I've worked with a teacher or someone that has lots of stuff in their classroom, in their house, whatever, you buy all these containers, but you really don't need them. So then you make them work, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you really, like, you could have just edited. I don't know. I have big feelings about all this stuff.
No, I do too.
I think you need an OCD vet podcast, BT dubs.
No, right. And I mean, basically, the way they think, like, I do the same things. They just call it different things, like edit, would you like purge or let go, or decide what to keep, and then contain. Contain is the number one thing that, you know, if you have a Sharpies drawer, but you like Sharpies and you buy more Sharpies, well, if they're overflowing, it's time to test all the Sharpies and see if there's any dry ones and get rid of those so that they fit. And what's their last one? Oh, and then make it pretty.
I don't know if that's really the last one.
Yeah, but really the number one thing is, if you're going to get organized, it's the staying organized and being organized. And it's just a habitual thing. Like, this is something I've always done. And it just comes easy to me because I just am that way. And I think that people can get organized. And that's awesome that you know, every day, instead of putting the letter on the table, oh, right, we found a place for the letters. They go here. It's that step.
And I'm such a nerd. You got to open the letter and then deal with what's in the letter. Or you rip it up and put it in the trash or recycle, whatever is appropriate for you. But I am a big fan of touching it once. Because that's my whole lazy or efficient thing. I don't like it. I don't want to. For me, the system of bringing something into the house and then putting it somewhere doesn't work. I think you need to deal with it when you get in the house. I hate that I'm sitting here saying you need to. You ought to.
That's okay. I don't care.
But that works for me.
But so. It is. It's my whole yesterday's lazy is today's crazy. So if I want to deal with it now, so I can
think about it again.
I don't have to think about it again, but I can sit on the couch and watch that whole episode of whatever, or the whole movie without thinking, oh, I'm gonna have to get up because I have to go deal with that before bed, or then I'll say, or maybe I'll say, maybe I'll just deal with it tomorrow. But then that's something for tomorrow. So yeah, so I like to deal with it. And that you're lazy efficient, like that's just brilliant how you've described that, because I think a lot of how I'm just lazy, so I want to not have it later to do.
Yeah, and I think people can understand that, because like the whole idea for me is to not have to touch it again. I don't want to have to budget time every week or every month to clean my house. So what works for me is 15 minutes a day. Like I pick a job to do, and I'm me, so I kind of piddle and do things other times too. But like yesterday you were coming, so a guest is coming. That means for sure I clean the bathroom, and our kitchen floor was all tracked up, so I needed to mop the kitchen floor. But that's what I did yesterday before you came, and then wash the bed. But I don't really count laundry in my 15-minute clean, because that's something like laundry. Laundry is an ongoing thing. I don't budget time for it because I know it's always happening. So,
and I definitely see that, like especially here, and everything, and now especially even more now since you guys have been editing, like I can see where you can just on a whim say, oh, let's go grab a Sonic drink. Let's go, because there's nothing to be done.
There's
You
always
can
stuff to be done.
there
But
is stuff.
There's nothing.
There's nothing waiting for you or weighing on you. You can just pick up and go, even if you don't have it planned. And then your look at your space is ready after I leave to sit down and work.
Yeah, and that,
I have to move things around, and it's just ready.
And that goes back to that whole lazy and efficient thing. And that part of it too is, so that we all have something that we're a little bit OCD about, or and I know we don't like to throw that word around like that, but we do. We all have stuff. Anal is the word that I grew up with, but that people don't like that word either. So we all have things that we're particular about, right? And for me, to do the kind of work that I do, before I didn't really recognize that I did creative work, even though so much of what I did was creative, as a consultant. But now that my work is writing and social media and all the things that entails, like cotton, I recognize that to do the creative work, to be able to get where I need to be creatively, anything that's out of place around me is noise. And it's not that way for everybody. But I will say that my creative that I'm married to, or who I'm married to and who I work for, he would say that clutter doesn't bother him. But I guarantee you he's spending a lot more time in that place of flow and deep work, since he's not looking at clutter in his studio. Since you can tell, like, it feels good when you walk in the door out there now.
It looks amazing.
That's all him. That's what I love. Like that's all him. Because it needed to be him. He needed to own it.
Yeah. Yes.
And what works for you may not work for me. What works for Noble is certainly not what works for Casey. What works for me isn't what works for Casey. We all have our own systems. But I think it's just being intentional, right? And there are lots of things that I'm not doing well. Like so maybe my house is clean today, but I don't know what I'm cooking for dinner or if I'm cooking dinner tonight. Whereas like some of you guys, y'all have healthy food ready to go. And like, I haven't been to the gym today. I'm not doing yoga today. Like, there are lots of things that I'm not doing. Y'all think about, like, we're just talking about something that is my area of, like, yeah, I rock it here. But there's so many areas where I suck too. So don't, like, take it all with a grain of salt, right? But it's been good. Like, I really enjoyed having a flexible schedule so that you could come, and then I could, budget this first part of the day today to hang out with you and do this.
I know. I love it.
But you have to get on the road.
I do.
Because
I'm so glad to have.
Brenda was like, if I leave by 12:30, I'll be home. And I was like, no, you're going to leave by 12. It's 12:24.
12:24.
We're the worst. And we weren't even supposed to talk about organization.
We weren't. I forgot what we were going to talk about.
But I know we're talking about next week.
Yeah, I do too.
Okay. Orange Eye Glad.
Orange Eye Glad for, I would call this impromptu-ness, because I knew I had a break coming. I didn't have anything planned really. And then I went to New Braunfels. And then after that, I came here, and I just feel like I've gotten to do all of these things and catch up, and it's been fun and relaxing. And I just love that it wasn't really planned. It just kind of happened. And I am just so glad for that, because I just feel, I don't know, I feel happy. I feel excited about it.
That makes me happy. Yeah. So I have two Orange Glads, and one is, I'm glad for James. I'm glad that which someone's going to watch this and be like, man, she's a rip. And she's like, I'm not trying to be condescending to my husband, but I know how good it feels to accomplish something that's been weighing on you. So to know that the two spaces that are really like his spaces that he has ownership of, as far as like upkeep and stuff like that he has overhauled both of them in the past 2 weeks, unprompted. He did, before, to do the garage, it's like, well, when it gets cooler outside, then we'll take a weekend and we'll pull everything out. But he just did it in a few hours on a Sunday
on his own,
and it's amazing. And he does, like, he can just go. Somebody returned something the other day, my pressure washer, and James opened the garage, and I was like, I bet he was really like like Casey in the craft closet. So that's my Orange Glad. I'm glad for him. I'm glad that he's past this, that we don't have to talk about the garage anymore.
No.
And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that that this is a place that's a soft place for you to land.
Thank you. Yes, I do. I love it. It's definitely become a happy place. And like I just always leave here with something, and then I just can't wait to come back.
Yeah, I'll see you in a few days.
See you. See ya. I invited myself. I find a way to invite myself back every time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You do have a standing invitation.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm glad for that.
Because otherwise it would be awkward.
A little bit.
That you're here.
Here I am.
Brenda said, you texted me and you're like, I want to surprise the kids. And I was like, oops, I already told them.
And I was like, oops.
Well, when you live in a house this size, and like, this is one of those weeks where we have so many shoots and so many things going on, and she was coming up for Noble's game.
Yeah.
And I was like, they're not that kind of like, hey, woohoo, it's a surprise.
Well, I wanted to surprise them, but then also like, what if something came up and I was like, oh dang, I can't come after all. I didn't want to like be like,
be fine.
Disappoint Simon that wasn't coming.
Simon, who just can't leave Brenda alone. I mean, he's probably thinking about her from his perch on the couch on the other side.
Mm-hmm.
On the other side of the house, 4 feet that way. It's always ambitious to hear to be like, oh, it's on the other side of the house. It's in the other room. It's like right there. Like I could reach out my arm.
Oh my gosh, you guys. So I just hope wherever you are looking around, finding something to be glad about. There's always something to be glad about, right? And maybe we've shed some light. Maybe we got sidetracked talking about organizing, and maybe today's going to be your day where you're going to tackle the space that you've been it's been weighing you down.
15 minutes at a time, y'all. That's where it starts. One drawer, one shelf, not a whole room, just one thing, like your underwear drawer, your bra drawer. Because I know you two watching are ladies.
Yes.
Also, Martha, I need you to figure out what you want to talk about, because you're probably going to be our next guest. Like we're ready for you to guest. So if you're not ready this week, that's fine, but we're ready to talk to you. So,
all right, guys, thanks for listening.
I love you, big. Be safe.
I love you too. Okay, see you soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
We'll see you on Friday.
Hey y'all, are you still watching? Are you still listening? Oh, hey Mom.
We're so glad that you're still with us. If you want to connect online, we're at www.normalbiaspodcast.com, or you can find us on Facebook or Instagram or YouTube. And our very favorite, if we made you a mixtape, we'd put all those songs on our Spotify playlist for you.
All the things.